See, the mind is always trying to get a philosophical answer to its questions. It has problems. It is inventing problems. It is creating problems so we can solve them and get a sense of I, get a sense of personality, a sense of doership. And the mind is creating this suffering. And then the mind is also trying to awaken. It wants to find out how to wake up, how to do this, how to do that. And it can meditate for years, read books, watch videos, how to end that suffering. Now, when the mind is reading books, watching videos about Advaita, consciousness, separate self, you name it, you know what I'm talking about. And then it's new knowledge for the mind. Which is a new reason to suffer. Because the mind tells you, all the gurus told you how to awaken, what is consciousness, what is this, what is that, but I'm still suffering. It's because you are looking in those concepts for an answer. But then the mind becomes tired. It becomes tired of seeking. And that's a good thing. Because in the end, you will probably sit down and admit to yourself that you know nothing. You have learned absolutely nothing. And that will be the breakthrough. But this right here, right now, this is your opportunity to have that breakthrough right now. It is so easy actually. You sit down. You don't even have to sit down, but you can feel how calm you will be. The body mind will be extremely calm when you sit down and you just say and admit, like really mean it. You have to know that this is true. Don't use it as a technique to get somewhere. You have to know that this is a fact. You know nothing. So all the content in my mind is false. This separate personality that believes it's believing in this or that has to know that all those beliefs cannot be true. They are relative beliefs. As long as you are believing in things to which another could disagree with, then this is not the absolute truth. You have to find the one thing that nobody can disagree with. And you will only find it when you admit that you know nothing. We can always, dive into the relative and say this is this is that, free will exists, or it's only determinism. There are days where it feels like I have free will because I decided to do this. There are days where it feels like there is absolutely no free will because I wanted to do this and I tried as hard as I can and it didn't work. The only absolute truth is to abide in I don't know. Sit down and admit. You don't even have to say it. You just have to know it. That there is no knowledge in the mind that will bring you towards truth. And then you will see that all these thoughts are just floating around without meaning. They are floating around in an emptiness, which is absolutely ordinary. That's basically it. And when you do this, you cannot really do it because it's the only thing in life that is a non-doing, it's a being. So when you are being, you know there is nothing to attain, there's just knowledge, relative knowledge floating around in the mind. There's no one attaching itself to those thoughts. It will become less and less. And what can happen is you'll have terrific nightmares. This can happen because your ego, your mask, is crumbling. And the mask was designed to push down feelings you don't want to feel. You couldn't handle that back then. So when the mask is extremely weak, your authentic self starts to shine. Your authentic self doesn't need knowledge, doesn't need beliefs, it's free. But what can happen is that you will fall into a lot of negativity. This can happen. You can have nightmares and you can feel depressed and all these things. Don't worry about that. This will pass. All you have to do is admit that there is nothing in the internet, nothing in books that will free you, because when you find something in a video, when you find something in a book, that's knowledge for your mind. Your mind is the prison. So, and even if you believe that you're enlightened, there is always someone who would disagree with you. That means that your belief that you are enlightened is not the absolute truth. When someone can disagree with you, that means that you are believing in something that isn't true. But the mind can only believe in relative truth because it's designed to be limited. When you don't believe in anything anymore, nothing, then this whole mind matrix can end. There is no division anymore. Nature is seen as one undivided whole. So let's say, for example, you are meditating in this. emptiness, in this I don't know, there is nothing that could attach to knowledge. And there's just this beingness, this undivided, Now what can happen is for the mind, it can seem like consciousness is in the chest now. But you will find that as soon as you focus on the chest to find out if you are really in the chest, what will happen in that moment is that there is a division. It will instantly feel like you are someone that is looking at the chest. Same things happen with thoughts. When there is a thought and you are looking at the thought, that one that's looking at the thought is not the big consciousness. It's the personal ego consciousness. So there is a division between you and the thought, which is creating the suffering. And the one that's looking at the thought is not just looking at the thought with a pure intention. As long as there is an intention, it's not pure. The one that's looking at the thought is looking at the thought because either it is interested in the thought or it wants the thought to go away. The pure consciousness does not do that. It's the ego that's doing that. That's not consciousness doing that. So when I say consciousness is not doing that, I'm talking about this I don't know. This pure, when you admit that you don't know and there is just this nothing. That's what I'm talking about. Because this nothingness is not interested in getting rid of thoughts. Because it is already absolutely effortless to exist in that. When you don't feel any pressure, tightness, or effort, then you don't have the motivation to get rid of thoughts. But as I said, when you start to do this, what can happen is that all the negativity that you have suppressed for years can come to the surface. Even your body can get sick. But in the end, you will be free. Consciousness is already free. It's not consciousness that is interested in awakening, it's the body. Consciousness doesn't suffer. The body mind wants to stop the suffering, but it can't. When it's constantly trying to find knowledge, find a way, find a method. Every time you find a method, you're creating division. This is not a method. This is just, I don't know. You don't know anything about a method, about spirituality, about the world, about manifestation, about free will, determinism, separate self-consciousness. You don't know anything.